We got Davis. We're going to rip some drafts today. Let's do it. All right, guys, as I said, I am Liam Murphy. This is with Davis Mattek here. We're going to be ripping a big board draft later, but before we did that, two things I wanted to talk about Davis with. First of all, Davis, how was your weekend?
Just a great weekend, preparing for the end of the Kansas City Chiefs dynasty as the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions just sort of take over the NFL.
I was going to ask you, are you worried that Mahomes was more of a product of Eric Bieniemy?
No, I mean they're fucked when Andy Reid retires though, because they got no plan. They let Mike Kafka go, and Matt Nagy is probably the next Kansas City Chiefs head coach. So seems bad.
Yeah, that I don't know. I don't see Reid hanging it up before Mahomes is done. Like, why not ride it out with him if he's gotten this far? Like, does he want these years of his lives at the beach or whatever the hell he'd be doing?
I mean, Andy Reid is got to be almost 70. Andy Reid is 65 years old, and he can't be that healthy, right? Big fat guy. Like,
no, but like, how old is Belichick?
I think he's 72.
Yeah, and I think Andy will definitely hang it up by the time that Mahomes is done.
Yeah, but Mahomes might play for 20 more years.
If Mahomes plays to like 45, okay, he's done. But you can play, like, I think I see him coaching to at least 75. Unless, like, I don't know, like, retirement age for normal people is around 65. I just don't see unless there's like a bunch of QBs on Mahomes, Burrow, Allen type level in the NFL, and he's like, all right, whatever, like this, it's kind of hard to win. Why not chase the set up your future family or whatever he sold his wife about?
I think he probably just loves coaching football. But
exactly.
Like most of these guys are just sickos. Like, they're just like, I don't know anything other than coaching football, so I'm just going to keep doing that.
We have triggered a Bengals fan. Anyways, let's jump into the news around the NFL. Lamar Jackson officially requests a trade, which he doesn't need to do that because he is technically...
It's not under contract.
Exactly. Like, any team could negotiate with him. But I think that's his way of saying, I'm not playing for the Ravens.
Yeah. It sounds like basically like the damage has been done. I don't get it from anyone's perspective. I don't get this from Lamar's perspective about not having an agent and needing the guaranteed money, because for quarterbacks the money's pretty much guaranteed. Like, the quarterbacks get their money always. Like, Lamar could be 32 and still hurt and still haven't been to a Super Bowl, and like the Raiders would probably give him a bunch of money. But it makes way less sense to me for the Ravens, because they're staring down the barrel of like never winning the division again, of like going to war with Tyler Hunt. Lamar, I know he's been hurt, but he's like so fucking good, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if like Burrow being in their division like spooked them. Like, oh damn, we're not even like the best in our own division. But I think, to me, I've said this a couple times, but to me, this is what happened. If you're a player, why the fuck would you pay an agent 5%, 10%, whatever that an agent requires for money, when you could pay your mom, your dad to literally like copy and paste the contract of Josh Allen, Mahomes, whoever, and be like, give me this. I don't know, give me $1 million more of this, whatever, make it work for your cap. And I'm sure NFL owners do not want to be like, NFL owners have relationships with agents, and agents feed them info, and they will not, like, they don't want to be dealing with Lamar's dad and Mahomes's sister and Josh Allen's brother for these contracts. And so I think that's a little bit what's going on. It's like unquestionably there's some collusion to me. And I think I don't know. I think if Snyder was not hopefully out of his way on his way out of the Commanders, like the Commanders would already have come in and been like, Snyder been like, fuck you, owners.
The Falcons are the team that should do it.
Well, but like what I'm saying is Snyder is the guy who'd be like, I don't care what you want, NFL.
Oh,
like,
right.
I'm gonna go get Lamar.
Yeah. I mean, that's the undercurrent too, is it sounds like basically the owners just like fucking cabal handshake deal. Like we're not giving fully guaranteed contracts anymore.
Yeah. So do you think it is mostly the fully guaranteed contract, or do you think it is a little bit of what I'm saying with the self-representation? Because I think
it's both. I think it's the NFL being annoyed of not doing it the way everyone else does it. The fully guaranteed money and by the way, the owners feel pretty justified because this Deshaun Watson contract looks awful right now. And obviously he could play better this season and it could feel differently, but probably right now they're looking at like, yeah, they gave fully guaranteed money to this guy who stinks.
Yeah, I think you feel, I don't know, in the Browns shoes, it's weird because it's like if Deshaun returns to his level and you can make the fully guaranteed money work for your team, you really fuck with the other teams who have these elite quarterbacks needing contracts soon, who are going to be like, I want that. If they can't work in the fully guaranteed money on, for their books. So it's like
Right.
for like you kind of like screw like the Bengals, who is literally in their division, and the Ravens. So like maybe like the Browns were almost sharp if they're like, hey, we can make this work. Burrow needs a contract soon. Lamar needs a contract soon. That's really going to fuck with two division rivals. But I don't know. If you had to choose today, where is Lamar playing?
It still feels to me like most obvious, like most likely is that he plays for the Ravens.
Okay, he's not a Raven.
That they figure it out.
If he's not a Raven, where's he going? Is he going some exciting landing spot?
Detroit.
Lions would be wheels up.
Yeah, Detroit is the wheels up.
Dolphins would be exciting, but it's just like the AFC is so loaded, so it's hard.
Yeah, if I was an NFC team, I'd be like, we could make the Super Bowl this year if we run into a healthy Lamar season, like he just stays healthy. Like we could just make the Super Bowl now. Like we don't have to do any building. We can just. It's like what are we?
It's like us versus Eagles is what you'd be saying, right?
Right, and they'd be like, and I think you could pretty rationally argue that Lamar is capable of being as good as Jalen Hurts, maybe even better. I mean, Lamar is a better open field runner than Jalen Hurts for sure.
Wouldn't it be shocking to me if the Niners somehow could make it work? Be like, we'll give you Trey Lance and Darnold and Purdy. I don't think they're like on the radar of anyone, but I mean, if he lands with the Commanders, that's exciting for them, especially if they get a new owner. So like they don't have the stink of Snyder.
Yeah, that's super exciting.
I mean, the Falcons would just be to be like, where Mike Vick played most of his career to now have him in the worst division in football, like them and like the Jaguars division is a toss up probably. That would be a lot of excitement in the dome, with weapons there. They have a good defense.
100%. And they're like immediately the favorite for the division too.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's move on from that. Yesterday, friend of the channel, Sam Sherman, put out a tweet, and I wanted to talk about it because I don't agree with everything about it. I retweeted it, so if you guys aren't on Twitter, it's Sherman_FFB. Sam does a lot of great work. He does he does a show with Davis and Pat on Fridays on the Ship Chasing channel, ADP Chasing. And he's more of a chart guy, like in fantasy football, we have these research people, these people who look at historical data, try to apply it. I wouldn't put myself in that book. I'm more of a, I'm in tune with the historical data, but you're
more of an ideas guy, I'm more of a
Liam,
you're a big ideas guy.
Applied to the current draft landscape, which I think a big problem with people who try to just look up historical data and apply it is it can be misapplied to the current draft landscape and really hurt you. And We're not going to read the whole thing here, but basically to sum it up, he put up some myths and some facts. I'll read the myths and facts for you. I'll let you guys look at these charts on your own time. But basically, it's saying that running backs are undervalued and they need to be drafted for. So myth number one, you should treat the flex position essentially like your wide receiver 4 spot. It's optimal to fill the flex with the wide receiver. And my problem with this statement is drafting 4 good wide receivers to fill your flex is not about them actually physically filling your flex position. Like, I could give a shit who is giving me flex points. It's that I want 4 good wide receivers because you need to start 3 of them each week. It's not about actually having the flex filled by a wide receiver, you know? And he said facts. Running backs and wide receivers each fill the flex roughly equally, with running backs actually filling the flex more often than wide receivers, 46% versus 38%. And his data goes back to 2013, which to me, fantasy football really changed after Best Ball Mania 1. And really after Best Ball Mania 2, I would say, where...
I mean, it's a much different game right now. Like, timeshares are at an all-time high and average depth of target is at an all-time low, which just creates a weird game.
And it's
Like,
not even
it's just
about...
a different... Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're talking about like the meta of what the actual NFL teams are doing, which also has changed a fuckload since back then. But it's also the fact that with best ball and how much money is being gambled on fantasy football,
ADP is just better.
It's just way more sharp because like back in 2013, you were playing one $20 home league with your buddies a year. Or if you're a real sicko, you had 3 dynasty leagues. So it's like, even and I'm going to put out a tweet or an article on this showing the first 2 round ADPs of the past 3 Best Ball Mania 1, 2, 3. And it's like, for those who didn't play in 2020, Best Ball Mania 1 literally had only 1 wide receiver in the first round, Michael Thomas. The rest was running backs. Names such as Kenyon Drake, Nick Chubb, Josh Jacobs. Also, Lamar Jackson and Pat Mahomes were first, second round picks that year after they had good 2019s. So it's kind of funny who people are like, they forget with Mahomes, Allen, and Hurts being second round picks. They're like, this is the first time we've seen this before. It's just Mahomes and Allen. I mean, Lamar and Mahomes didn't have great years that year compared to their cost. Myth 2. Wide receivers are inherently more volatile than the running back position. You see more frequent massive spike weeks from wide receivers. Fact number 2. Running backs and wide receivers have equally number of major spike weeks. Running backs are more likely to give you major spike weeks because less are drafted on average. Give some charts here. Myth 3. Huge wide receiver scores are more predictable. You should take wide receivers early because it's much easier to find spikes from running backs late. I would agree with that. Fact 3. Top 12 running backs by ADP make up a higher percentage of spikes than do top 12 wide receivers. Running back 2s and wide receiver 2s are around equal in delivering spikes. And so I'm torn with this thread. On one end, it seems like he is trying to tell people to draft more running backs. And I don't disagree with his conclusion that many rounds in the current draft landscape.
Running backs are better values right now. A lot of like after like pick like 60, 70, like it gets that way.
Absolutely. Don't disagree with that. However, in 2020, Chase Claypool and T. Higgins, and Justin Jefferson were like 15th, 17th, and 18th round draft picks in the Best Ball Mania 1. You know, literally end of drafts, you could nail first round wide receiver picks. Today, if, I don't know, Jordan Addison goes in the first round, he's going to be a 6th, 7th, 8th round pick. So not only do I feel you're not getting the same wide receiver value late, and this is why, like, I could give on his end, he wants a big sample size. So this is why he pulls the data from back to 2013, and it's half point PPR data, which like I don't even know what sites were playing half point PPR back then. But what's your take overall on this?
Well, I suppose my general take would be I sort of agree. I think in the aggregate, so this is the way in which I agree.
And I should mention we like Sam a lot. but we're going to talk about this thread, like, and I don't disagree. I don't agree with everything, but Sample's great.
I don't agree with it all either. So this is my number one takeaway is that the thing I agree with him about is that people have gotten a roster construction thing wrong, which relates to his second bullet point, which is about the volatility of running backs versus wide receivers. Because I think you get to pick 18 and you're like, okay, yeah, I'll take the wide receiver 4 on some team or whatever, and he'll have 2 18-point weeks or whatever. When like really, Samaj P. Ryan, Zamir White, like whatever, it's the same thing, right? Where you're binking, and instead of binking on a random efficiency week, you're binking on a random volume week. You're just binking, injury. I mean, how many backfields last year got down to like a 4th or 5th guy? It's like trades happen. In fact, that's actually something that's sort of interesting, is that in-season trades have become a little bit more common in the NFL, which sort of changes the landscape. And that's not even something you would even think about in the preseason, really. I do think you could reasonably look at this thread that Sam did and have the takeaway that you should be taking running backs early instead of wide receivers, which I disagree with.
Which is like the third round of guys right now, like Tony Pollard, Ramondre, Josh Jacobs. It would not shock me if literally any of these names were running back 1 on the year. Does that mean I'm going every draft wide receiver, running back? No. Because, the drop off from DK Metcalf in the second round to, I don't know, choose your adventure in the late round is like pretty big, where it's like you can always fall into a top running back if it's a handcuff and the starter gets hurt or whatever. So, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think you still need to be taking elite wide receivers early,
especially with how we see teams utilize wide receivers in today's
game. Those guys are scoring even more points. They're a larger point of the touchdown production.
They are the offense.
But so really it came down to my takeaway was, instead of, the classic sort of, draft streamer construction strategy for Best Ball Mania was 2 quarterbacks, 6 running backs, 8 or 9 wide receivers, and 2 or 3 tight ends. That was just sort of generic GTO style drafting. And my thinking is that actually you should be trying to balance your running back and wide receiver numbers, especially if you're cramming wide receivers early. If you start with 4 wide receivers, you really probably don't need 8. You probably should backload with, Pierre Strong or whatever, basically.
Well, yeah, that's something that I feel the field was doing wrong that I did not do last year. And I think I did do a little wrong for Best Ball Mania 2, which is when I start 3 or 4 wide receivers early, I am not taking 9, 10 of them. Like, I don't need those late round like draft like you're right is always a principle in best ball. Where if I do take like a Eckler Saquon start, I am still prone to kind of want that 6th running back, because that guy could be, you're just more likely to find a league winner type value late for like almost every
and half point PPR just shifts the balance of scoring towards the running backs and away from the wide receivers a little bit.
Sure. And it's like, we deal with sample size issues where it's like, Amon-Ra St. Brown going out at the 1 yard line, like,
oh, don't even get me started.
15 times last year, therefore giving Jamal Williams like a 220-point season. Like, if Amon-Ra just scores a bunch of those, the Jamal Williams pick is not as big a hit. Same thing with, like, I don't think people realized how much A.J. Brown was tackled at the 1 yard line as someone who was like stacking him in DFS each week. And I was like, yeah, okay. It's like really every single time he's getting tackled at the 1 like this. But, like random things like that are happening in our sample. But, I retweeted the tweet. I want people to wrongly conclude you just need to take running backs early. And I will say, I wrote some articles for the 33rd team, and I put the last one will have some conclusions coming out next week. And I can just tell you guys some of the conclusions is for every single team that I won a tournament with, I did have 1 running back by round 2 minimum, which I would say my portfolio leaned wide receiver starts. However, for every single one that won, I also had 4 wide receivers probably by round 7 or so. So it's like I don't mind having 4 wide receivers by round 7 and 3 running backs by like round 8, where it's like I'm trying to overlap the flex position with a quality person. It can either be the wide receiver, it can either be the running back, it could be a tight end. I don't care who's filling the flex, but I firmly believe if you start your drafts with like Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, and whatever, choose a running back name in the third, you are going to be buried by wide receivers if you just try to like hit with a bunch of, I don't know, Isaiah Hodgins and Alec Pierces and whatever.
Is Derrick Henry, like, are people taking him for real?
Well, he's not in the first round, but he's a second or third round pick. All right, let's move on from this before we jump into the draft. My question for you, Davis, is where are your mental health levels? How many big boards have you done? It is officially 91% filled.
Yeah, this isn't for me, man. I've done 3 drafts.
You done 3? Okay.
I've done 4 drafts. I'm keeping up with the market and everything because I find it fascinating, but I don't think my edge is that big in these, to be honest. And I think I think probably the edge in the big board stuff is like having a read on rookies and guys who are going to see some huge jumps.
But that is you. Like, you're a dynasty person.
I mean, I do. I don't know. I just
like, if you were drafted from day one of the contest, I promise you would know more rookies than most of the field.
That's probably true. I mean, honestly, Liam, I guess it's like when I go to Vegas, I don't play table games. You know, I play cards or don't do anything, which is.
But this isn't a $200K to first tournament.
No. What I'm saying is I don't engage in the minus EV games, and I don't think I'm particularly plus EV in this. And also, I mean, I might. It's hard to realize equity in a lifetime, anyways. Not for you and Karain, but for a lot of people. And like I have a finite amount of money to get down, and I'll be maxing BBM, and I'll be getting in a bunch of these $5 and the drafters and everything. And so I'm just keeping a little bit of powder dry, and also giving myself a mental health break.
Well, I will stake you if you want to. I will stake you for up to 150 for the big board if you feel like being mentally sick.
God, Jesus Christ! I'll take you up on it in the future, but I could not pound out 150 of these in like 4 days.
Well, what I'm really trying to say is it sounds like you are maturing, which both of us are in our 30s now, because not just last year, I know a Davis who on his honeymoon was trying to get in Best Ball Mania 3s because he was having fun.
I didn't try. I did get it.
And then he, for the playoff drafts, was
that was a real trough in my mental health. Karain winning $2 million and trying to chase him via playoff contest on Underdog. That was a real low in the mental health spectrum for me.
The playoff drafts are just hard because it's like open now. It starts in a week. Like you don't have.
I had such a soul read on the playoffs too. Like I had so many good teams. It's like kind of like I had most teams I've ever had in a final was I had 5 finals teams in the playoffs. Marquez Valdez-Scantling getting 0 points in the Super Bowl. It's not what I needed. And I was so heavy on Pacheco, and he crushed in the play. I'm getting mad just thinking about it.
Well, it sounds like, and I am a proponent of not burning out and taking a break, honestly, because like the draft is a month away. By the way, I fucking love the draft. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, the draft is sick.
And then we're in Best Ball Mania 4 season. And Best Ball Hot Summer is here. But I'm at 54 drafts right now. When I'm doing it by myself, I'm doing at minimum, I'm trying to like enter 5 at the same time. Cause it's kind of like what you said for the playoffs back then is like, for me, there's no excuse. Like I'm trying to be a best ball tournament professional. Arguably I am, but it's like, okay, I'm just not filling these because of laziness. It's like, I have the means to fill 150 big boards. So why not? And Best Ball, or the big board is nearly the size of Best Ball Mania 2, what I want. So obviously I'm not going to win, but I might over the next
But you
like
might.
over the next 3 days, I'm going to enter like I don't know. I'm going to try to get as close to 150 as I can. I'm not going to do the slow draft thing and like really tank my mental health, but I am going to multi-table a bunch of these things. Anyways, let's jump into a draft. Now, there's a new rule for drafting with me on stream, and here it is because I feel like I was A, getting free rolled, and B, it's annoying. You're obviously getting a 50-50 split, but if we min cash or get a semifinal team, I'm not sending you it because it's annoying. If you get a finals team, obviously I'm going to send it to you. But like no one was sending me the $17 min cash when I drafted with them.
Why? How did this rule come up?
Just because like at the end of draft season, I did a bunch of these streams. Do you want the half of $13?
No. That's why I'm saying like I don't ever send me $17.
Well, but I did it because what I said was you're getting a 50% equity in the team, which
that's on you. That's on you. That is a uniquely Liam perspective. No one else was caring about this.
Whatever. I sent it to people because your word matters, and that's what I said I was going to do. And it was annoying to send out like 20 Venmo things to David Kitchen and gang for $17. But obviously, if we make the finals, you got 50% sweat. We're chasing 200K. Let's jump into it. If you want to draft with us, there are 4 more spots.
How quick do these fill? Like, are people just cranking these out all day? Did you freeze, Liam?
I did for a second. I'm back now. Are you hearing me?
Yeah. Wow. These fill real fast.
I think it's filling fast because I'm streaming, and who knows who else is streaming nowadays. Like that helps fill. Like the other day, I just entered 5, and Chris Baggs and Pete were ripping a stream, and I was like, oh, this just filled. But they fill like pretty slow if you're just doing it at random times of night. But now that it's 91% filled, like there's only going to be 10,000 more entries. I think it's heating up. Like obviously this is going to fill before the NFL draft. And I'm sure they'll come out with some super flex or something by then. We pulled the 107.
Yeah, what are they going to do? What are they going to do for the next month?
They're gonna drop a super flex one, probably like 50K to first. I have no idea. What do you?
Super flex. I would draft some. That is fun.
I will not unless it's like big prizes because I don't. It's like I don't want to be in super flex brain before Best Ball Mania 4, and the prize is not going to be big. We dream on this channel. By the way, guys, if you could subscribe, hit the like button, really helps me out. Would appreciate it. Davis's Twitter also linked in the subscription if you want to give him a follow. Give him a follow, I should say.
All right.
All right. We're coming up on the 107. Bunch of names we like. It feels like a big drop off after.
So I like taking AJ Brown, obviously, but one thing that is nice about taking Adams here is you can get your stack, which we're probably not going to do if we take AJ Brown.
I'm never going Adams over AJ Brown unless I'm like trying to get unique at the top. But let's just talk about Kelsey real quick. I would rather go AJ Brown, but
same. I'm worried about Kelsey being 34, but also you can't stack him. Like it's hard.
Well, I think when you take Kelsey is the only time to take Mahomes. Like I'm not taking Mahomes in the second and being like, let's go MVS and gang.
Let's go MVS Sky Moore.
Who's the guy who we were all excited about last year? Justin Ross, maybe?
Well, I was not excited about him, but some people were.
Like the guy who had like a broken leg or something.
Clemson, broken foot.
What's your read on him? They also signed the speed guy, John Ross, I think is his name.
Yeah, he's on their reserve practice squad.
If like they do not add someone, which like they're very likely to, it would not shock me if either of those two dudes like just rip out a like 200-point season or something.
Yeah, that's not happening, dude. Justin Ross is like not ever gonna play football again. John Ross, maybe he could be like what Justin Watson was this last year. Like maybe he could play, but I mean, John Ross was never good, but was even in the NFL
but
last
if you're
year.
a speed guy, you need to be with a quarterback that can hit you deep. And so,
I mean, John Ross
didn't John Ross play with Andy Dalton?
Yeah, he did.
All right, what do you want? Should we go Bijan for the uniqueness here?
Bijan. Yeah,
let's
I don't even for the uniqueness. I just want. This is a great price for him. I love Bijan. I think we talked about this, me, Corain, and Sam the other day. Corain and I are big Bijan guys.
I'm a Bijan guy, but it's not going to shock me at all if he gets outscored by literally every running back, like past Josh Jacobs and up, or include Ramondre in there. Like, it will not shock me if, I don't know, he's in some weird timeshare, and like if like Barkley like super gaps him or something for some reason. But I guess it's like landing spot determinate, and ultimately it doesn't matter. Like if he shows out week 17 or week 16, it's like welcome to the team.
I mean, he's like a Saquon Zeke level running back prospect, and he's gonna score a lot of points regardless of what team he goes to. I think
it's a non-zero chance that Zeke teams up with Saquon, and
that he goes to the Giants.
Yeah, like I don't know if like couldn't you just see him being like, let's go play? Like
how is he not signed anywhere yet? I guess everyone just wants to give him the veteran minimum, and he doesn't want to sign for the vet min.
Yeah, I mean it was like kind of sad last week when he was like, I've narrowed down my choices to. This was like a wish list of where he wanted to play, but I don't think any of these teams wanted him. Like the Eagles and everywhere. He needs to go somewhere to pass protect. So I could see him becoming a Bengal. I could see him becoming a Jaguar, although that's a little bit less likely now that Dearness Johnson's there, I guess. But I don't really know. He's not someone I'm like.
Bengals does feel pretty likely to me. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's the vibe I was getting.
And you can always save face as a veteran when you're not going to get any money by being like, I want to chase a ring.
Right, exactly.
That can be what you say. Okay, we're coming up here. This is what the second. How do you feel about Hopkins is a guy I was kind of cold on to start the year, but if he goes to Buffalo, it's like, or the Chiefs.
Wow, you like a guy who might play for Buffalo?
Yeah,
definitely not clicking. Definitely not clicking. Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs, I do draft.
Debo is who I would take here because we can set up our stack. We can take Brock Purdy real late.
I've been drafting Trey Lance. I've not taken Purdy once.
Well, John Lynch just said today, Purdy's our guy. He's going to be the starter.
That is meaningless. He's saying that as a motivator.
I don't think so, because everything they say about Trey Lance is basically like, this guy fucking stinks.
Aren't they like not a coaching staff to trust what they say?
I mean, I think you just like
didn't they say like Jimmy G's our guy and then trade him?
And he was. Jimmy G started all those games when he was healthy for them.
But he would not have if Trey Lance didn't get hurt in a monsoon.
Well, but then he didn't get hurt in that game. He got hurt the next week.
Good question from AW here. Stupid question, but Bijan lost snaps in college to a third down / pass running back. What makes us think he won't lose them again in the pros when pass protection matters 100 times more?
Because Roschon is a dog. The guy.
I was going to ask, is Roschon just that good at pass protecting?
Yeah, the guy is the reason he didn't. And Bijan was still used as a receiver. You know, this is not like a Derrick Henry type situation where he didn't catch any, or who is the old Giants running back? I don't remember. But basically, it's just that Roschon is an absolute dog in pass protection and is really good at it. It didn't have anything to do with Bijan not being good at pass catching or pass blocking. It's just like Roschon's probably the best pass blocking running back in this draft class.
Yeah, he's a guy I draft late, along with infinite other.
He's going to be very James Robinson-y, where he's going to play as a rookie a lot more than anyone's anticipating.
Yeah, James Robinson smashed that year as a rookie.
Well, he's not going to be that good.
Do you want to grab one of the tight ends?
This is a terrible pocket. I probably
Hockenson
take
is my tight end too, and I think with the Lamar uncertainty, it should be that way. But how do you feel about it?
I think that's insane. Mark Andrews is so much better.
Okay, we're doing a Davis draft here. I think if the Vikings sign or I mean, if they draft like a top guy, or if they like draft Bijan or something, that would be a ding to Hockenson to me. But Hockenson balled the fuck out with Kirk Cousins in once he was traded to the Vikings. Like what's to not like about him?
About Hockenson? It's nothing against Hockenson. Mark Andrews is just better than he is.
Okay.
Mark Andrews has actually shit, this line of analysis doesn't even work, because it used to be Mark Andrews had 3 of the 5 highest scoring tight end games of all time, but TJ Hockenson has the highest fantasy point scoring game of all time after last year.
Yeah, well, and that was in the real playoffs when games matter. But the other thing about Mark Andrews is you can be good at football, but if your quarterback does not throw for a lot of yards and touchdowns, you don't score points.
Don't you think that if they do actually let Lamar go, they're going to bring in some sort of different,
whoever they bring in is going to be a huge dog to Kirk Cousins for
yards. But he's not. But Mark Andrews is the Justin Jefferson of their offense.
I understand that Justin Jefferson is not on the Ravens. However, Kirk also Kirk was top 5 in the NFL for yards. Touchdowns thrown inside the red zone. I would rip Kittle. I would rip Godwin. I would rip Lamar. I think Lamar's going to fall.
I was going to see Lamar. I mean, we could try and wait another pick, but I would have said Dalvin Cook here, actually.
Okay, we're going. What you want to do, Lamar instead? Then,
yeah,
I would always want to go Lamar over Dalvin Cook.
Why is the market just Dalvin Cook is going to be on the Vikings? I don't think anything's going to change with him.
I guess you're right. It's just I don't know. He's 27. He's going to be 28 in August. Is he just cheap Derrick Henry to you? It's I don't know. They gave Alexander Mattison a lot of money. This is just the range where it's Aaron Jones goes, Dalvin Cook goes, and it's the end of the good wide receivers where after Godwin and maybe after even Hollywood Brown, real quick you're looking at George Pickens, Kadarius.
Right.
So it's a huge drop off there where the running back is kind of flat to me. It's is it going to be shocking to me if J.K. Dobbins outscores Dalvin Cook?
No, but what I'm saying is that all these guys are the Josh Jacobs candidates from last year. Dalvin Cook, Aaron, these vets who've kind of just been left for dead. But I can tell myself a really good story about all of them, particularly Dalvin, who's been so good in fantasy before and just had a weird year last year.
Yeah, okay, but so could Antonio Gibson be Josh Jacobs? And he's actually
they're going to take Bijan. So
and the different I don't think you can call a running back that's 28 a Josh Jacobs candidate because Josh Jacobs was what 24.
No, he's older than that.
He's 25 now as of February, so he was 24 last year.
Yeah, shit, you're right. Good for him.
So it's this is a guy on a rookie contract who was a first-round pick 2 years ago. I don't know. You're totally right. A healthy Dalvin Cook probably smashes. Now, the good thing is not even us talking about him on stream is getting people to click his name right now. Unless Toddlers is auto drafting here.
He might be.
He's there. Tony. You're a Dalvin Cook guy. I don't know. I'm not out on Swift.
I would take I really like Dameon Pierce too. But either is fine.
I think we roll with Cook, who is also a leverage off of Hawkinson, who's the other tight end we could have taken since we do have Andrews. And
I
I
like
feel good
that.
about our spot.
That's like a Hayden Wings galaxy brain. Like when you're at a certain ADP and you make the other choice, you take the backup so that your team is more diametrically opposed to other teams in the finals.
Yeah, it's like if we're already betting against Hawkinson, let's say it's because Cook gets all the touchdowns, or something.
Yeah.
What percent chance would you say that Lamar does not play next year?
Does not play at all. That to me is giving up. I think that would just be too much money for him to give up.
Well, if he needs to like sit a year because the Ravens dig their heels in and
So Lamar,
he's refusing to play. He would refuse to play on a 1-year contract, I think. Right?
Lamar has only made $9 million in his career.
Sure, but if
I don't think you can give up $32 million.
If he can forgo a franchise tag to secure a $200 million contract, where I mean Lamar tears an ACL, he could be looking at Odell Beckham's fate, where it's like, fuck, no one's gonna give me this long contract.
No, I think it's different because he's younger and he's a quarterback. I think Lamar will be able to get contracts for a while, but I don't think you can. I just don't think in Lamar's position you can say
it depends on the injury he gets, right?
You know who's the fucking best value in the big board? It's Kyle Pitts. I mean, Kyle, like, just come on. We're taking. I'm gonna have so much of this guy.
I still think he is like if Ritter is their quarterback, I don't see the passing volume, but any elite tight end is a good pick to me because they could be the guy who goes for.
Isn't Heineke like fine?
Heineke's fine, but we also know that Heineke like locks on his favorite target, and why wouldn't that be Drake London? Maybe?
Drake London.
I would take Waller, who I really like, and be done. I would take Johnston. I like Cam Akers a little bit. Joe Mixon, I'm scared off by. I think Waller could smash.
I think we need Johnston.
Okay. I think there's a chance we get him there. Maybe not.
I think that was a structural thing. Because we're kind of close to getting buried by the Avalanche here.
No, when you have AJ Brown as Debo as your 2, you're fine. It's like Waller could rip off a huge season if he is, especially if what the fuck are the Giants doing with all these slot dudes?
Well, Waller is basically a slot guy too.
I know. And I put out a tweet the other day, like asking if the Giants are trying to moneyball the NFL. I have no idea why this tweet got like 50,000 interactions or something.
Well, it's because it was a dumb tweet. How do you moneyball slot wide receivers? How
no, people liked it. They like I just like put out like, it was a joke, obviously, like because they're signing every slot dude. It would have been funny if they brought in McKenzie too. But probably a bad sign for Wan'Dale Robinson's health, right?
I mean, it's probably a little bit about his health. Also would not surprise me if it's about just wanting, like, all those other guys are injured too. So like very injury prone. Like they still have Sterling Shepard on the roster. Slayton has been injured a ton. They signed Jamison Crowder. He's been injured a ton. Like they probably just want to guarantee they have some guys available. And remember, Crowder, did Crowder, I guess Crowder didn't overlap at all with Dable, or did he?
No, I don't think
he didn't. Yeah,
okay.
we're kind of stuck right here.
Do we like who's the guy you want to roll the dice on? I would take Michael Thomas.
I was going to say Michael Thomas. Yeah, that's who I want. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, fuck it. Like, what's up with Joe Mixon? He's obviously a bad person, and like another beat some other woman or something that he just seems to be doing.
He's just the fucking worst, man. He went to Oklahoma, so that stinks too. Because I remember but yeah, I can't ride for Joe. I mean, I think he's just he can't be on the Bengals. I've said this on every show. People are going to get sick of me saying this stuff, but the Bengals are the most fucked team in the NFL from a cap perspective, and they can save $7.5 million against the cap by cutting him this year. So they're figuring a way to get his money off the books, I think.
He is only 26 right now, going to be 27 in July. So a full year younger than Dalvin, but it's like, is there going to be a market for him? With his like antics, I don't see it.
I mean, it's like the same deal as like Zeke, probably. Like maybe he ends up getting a veteran minimum somewhere.
Well, Zeke is like unquestionably cooked. Mixon at least had like a 50-point game in fantasy last year.
Right, but it's like with running back, you can get the same production out of some kid from the 7th round from Toledo that you can get from Joe Mixon. So if there's any issues at all, why deal with it?
Yeah. No, I agree.
Elijah Moore, that is a guy. Fuck. That's who we should have taken. I am so in on him.
I'm not like, I don't share your enthusiasm because I think Donovan People-Jones like showed out last year. You know, like he was good. I would take Penny. I would take Trey Lance. If you feel strongly about anyone else.
I don't feel strongly. This is so bad. I don't particularly like Trey Lance. Actually, I think he's probably pretty bad at this price. I'm good with Penny.
Penny?
No, not James Conner. Not James Conner.
What's your read on Kamara?
That the combination of like suspension, signing Jamal Williams, Taysom Hill still being there, looked dusty last year, like all the bad signs for a running back are all there.
Yeah. We could have made like a mini. I mean, but Derek Carr did say he's looking forward to like throwing to Kamara, and I don't know why you'd say that unless you had some assurance that he'll probably be playing eventually.
Well, I think Kamara, it'll be like a half-season suspension.
Well, and the other thing about the Saints is they have the easiest schedule in the NFL based on win totals last year. Their Vegas over-under is like 9.5 games, which seems absurd except for the fact that their division sucks. The NFC is easy. And they rightfully, like the Saints rightfully said, like, well, no point blowing it up. We play in a terrible division with a terrible conference. We can win. Like if Michael Thomas becomes what he is and stays healthy, and people forget Michael Thomas actually had a good year until he got hurt last year. Like I don't know, like I feel like people talk about him like he's cooked. Scored 3 touchdowns in like
4 he was good. He was good for like the 6 games or the 3 games or whatever that he played.
He is 32.
Yeah,
no, 30 as well, not 32. So I don't know. How are you feeling about Johnston? Like versus Addison?
The buzz has not been very good on him, but my thesis on him remains the same as it was 2 months ago, which is that he's the one guy in this draft class who is sized like AJ Brown and DK Metcalf. Like he's the one big-bodied, and I talked about this with Corain last week.
He's like 20 pounds lighter than those guys.
Yes, yeah, he's not. I don't think he is those guys. I think his range of outcomes are super wide. Like I think he could be an insane bust, but I also think that he's got more 15 touchdown seasons in his theoretical range than any of the other wide receivers.
Okay, well we're coming up on the clock. What do you want to do here? We could bet on Kamara and say we can support him being suspended. It is pick number 114. We could take Trey Lance, who
I like AJ Dillon more than Kamara, and I don't hate Sky here either.
You like Sky over Boyd?
Yes.
AJ Dillon, I take a lot of, and we do have a bet
Dillon
on that division a little bit. I don't know. Like I think I would roll the dice on Kamara here because it's like.
I don't know. Because it's like what?
if he plays half the season, he's a good pick.
Yeah, he is.
If he plays the second, if he
Well,
plays the
that's
first half of the season,
so
he's a
then
bad
it
pick.
becomes is he suspended when you need him, right? Because I don't think we know. We haven't gotten
And he's a
any
useless pick. Then I don't want him at all.
right. Which is probably why he goes at pick 115 or whatever.
We're going to need also with Lamar, I'm inclined to go 3 QB just because of the
Should we take Anthony Richardson here?
I like taking Anthony Richardson in every draft.
Sure.
Is
Sign
it,
me up.
It's the same reason how I burn
We
money
could
on
have two quarterbacks through 11 picks and maybe 0 starts in the upcoming year, so that might be nice.
Yeah, and then we can try to hit Carr to Michael Thomas or something.
I like Baker as a last round pick. That's a very unpopular opinion. No one agrees with me on that.
Taking him when you don't take Godwin or Mike Evans is like why?
For the vibes. Just purely vibes based analysis.
We don't need to reach on Richardson yet. He has an ADP many rounds later. Knox is gone though. He's the only guy. Damian Harris could literally smash.
I do like Damian Harris. I think we should take a wide receiver though. Downs is that's a guy who's starting to get the drum beat. I did not like him after the combine, but he's starting to get the drum beat.
We are officially in David Kitchen territory. We are living a little. ADP we are freed from.
Don't you think that when the market is this imprecise, when it's this early, when there's so little informational edge, don't you think that this is actually the time to do that though?
I don't care about I don't care about ADP ever. You know, I don't like if I'm reaching and I'm allowing someone else to build like a Jefferson Chase team, which obviously that's a hyperbole. But no, I straight up don't care. Like I think everything's viable. You can get weird, whatever. I do think though that like Damian Harris was one of the last running backs who could literally score. Like we could convince ourselves he's scoring 10 touchdowns.
We just cover at the beginning of this program why that is a logical fallacy and why late round running backs are actually good.
Well, I think a 11th round guy is a late round running back. And wide receiver, like, okay, I feel fine about Downs, but do I feel bad about Pierce? No. I take Hodgins, I take Moore, I take Shaheed. Like, that's more blended to me than the drop-off of Damian Harris to Zeke, to Kareem Hunt, who I'm, like, not drafting at all, to a Chain, who weighs 145 pounds.
Sure.
Or whatever. Like, there's some names I like here, for sure. Like, I draft Gibson. I put out a tweet the other day.
I like him. I do like him.
Yeah, there's a chance that he's totally a bust. Wizzo reaches on Richardson knowing that we're not letting it get back to him.
You hate to see it.
Yeah.
So what's our plan here? We got to take Carr.
I would say Carr is a very solid QB2, and it's like whatever. Like, yeah, I like Chig, but I would like the drop. Like, if we don't take these quarterbacks now, we could be facing this tier. So let's get Carr to go with Michael Thomas.
Yeah, I'm with that.
And with Carr, you know, I will take a QB3, but I don't feel the need. He could be totally cucked though by this like weird Taysom Jamal Williams like offense. I don't know what's going on in Saintsville.
Olave, Michael Thomas, Juwan Johnson. I don't know. They'll figure it out.
I do like that we have like when you take Michael Thomas, I do think you should be weighting your picks towards Carr because we're betting on that 10 touchdown type of season.
Right. Yeah. No, you're 100% correct.
And he could support a Lamar.
What if, by the way, Kyler Murray ends up being who you need in Best Ball Mania 4?
He's a tough one right now where it's like,
quarterback 20, but he's got quarterback 1 upside.
yeah, and he's got upside when you want it. Like, I think he is almost certainly not going to start the year. So he definitely could be a target later. Like I don't know what week would you guess he returns? And the other problem is like the Cardinals are so bad.
What if all they needed? What if this is an Urban Meyer situation, and what if they just needed an adult in the room to figure it all out? And now that Cliff's gone, they're actually good.
With David Blau at quarterback, though, like if it's week 8 and you are 2-6, are you putting him out there?
Probably, because you just need to get more information on how good he is.
Yeah, or with your new, who is the coach there again?
I don't even remember.
Yeah, that was a very lackluster announcement. Whoever they did. Wouldn't it be funny?
I got it confused. Yeah, Gannon, the Eagles defensive coordinator.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Juwan Johnson goes. He would have been like, I like Johnson and I like Hill. I like one of those tight ends to have a good year.
Yeah, same.
I like Alec Pierce a lot.
Sure.
I also would take.
I got no argument there. What's our plan at second tight end? Are we taking?
Let's take Kyler, man. We just talked about him.
All right. I got no issue there.
Yeah, like if he.
It's a very fun pick because you can totally sell yourself on him being your favorite thing. Low advance rate, high ceiling in the playoff rounds.
Which is not as important at quarterback, where it's like, congrats, you have this low advance rate quarterback.
No, it literally is important. That's like a big variable in how Corain won.
No, it's important, but it's much more important at the other positions because it's like, okay, you got a low-owned Kyler Murray. Okay, Hurts scored 30. Allen scored 30. Mahomes scored 30.
But there are worlds where Kyler.
They don't know, but it's just the fact that quarterbacks rarely separate.
Yes, in general, yes.
But anytime you can take 3 quarterbacks and not know if 2 of them are literally going to play, you got to roll with it. Like the upside of this team is huge at quarterback. At really every position. But the downside is there too. And it's like Kyler Murray versus Stroud and Young. Stroud and Young are not good. Like Kenny Pickett. They're not giving
Stroud. Well, I'll tell you right now, Stroud and Bryce Young, when we get into Best Ball Mania 4, these are going to be 9th, 10th round picks. So if you really like these guys, you should be taking them now.
I do draft them now, but they are never going to be giving you. I just don't see it for their rookie years being like, if Stroud is a Panther and your wide receiver 1 is Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, who I like, it's like, you're not giving me 30-point games. Maybe even 20.
He might.
I mean, I don't know anything about him. He could be that good.
He didn't run at all until the very end of his final season at Ohio State. I do like Michael Gallup. What's the tight end board looking like?
Skip right now.
Yeah. Gallup or Nico Collins for me.
For me, it's Gallup or Hodgins. We'll go Gallup. Betting like he's only here because he was injured last year and now he's not.
Well, they also traded for Brandon Cooks.
Yes. But he was here the whole time.
But Dalton Schultz is gone, which is actually probably a pretty big variable.
And like they prioritized wrongly Gallup over Amari Cooper. I still don't get it.
No, that's not what happened. They just don't like Amari that much and they didn't want to pay him.
Him playing chess was too much for them.
Well,
but they paid Gallup quite a bit, right?
Well, Gallup is kind of Jerry's boy. Gallup is kind of
5-year, $57.5 million.
Yeah,
after he tore his ACL.
Well, that's what I'm telling you. Is Gallup is kind of Jerry's boy, and Cooper is not. They also they were annoyed with Cooper. Like Dallas is a very like old school football type vibe, and Amari, like, he's got other interests. He's not like a meathead. And also they didn't love that he didn't get vaccinated either.
If I was an NFL owner, I would try to be quote unquote boys with the good players. But that's just me.
Well, you don't get Jerry Jones, dude. You don't even get how he operates his business.
What's after Jerry Jones? Is he just going to give it to his son?
Shit, I don't know. Yeah, probably. I mean, Steven is the vice president. Like, he works in the front office.
Yeah, that's a Jones. Like that's going to be in the Jones family for a long time. I don't see Jerry being like wanting to sell it.
Oh no, he will never sell it.
There are some names to like here at wide receiver. Like Renfro literally had a 200-point season 2 years ago. Shakir could be the wideout 3. Tyquan Thornton, second round pick, a lot of upside. Don't feel that way about Thielen. Devin Singletary,
no,
I think is a good pick. Jaylen
Warren is a really good pick. Devin Singletary, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean with Warren, is like catches passes, so like he could be like a poor man's Eckler, poor man's whatever. Singletary, it's just like hopefully he scores touchdowns and runs for yards.
Crane made this point about Najee the other day, which is like it's year 3. Najee has been bad for every minute of his entire Pittsburgh career. Like at a certain point, like just like the Chiefs this last year, they finally just were like, all right, like enough, like no more Clyde. We spent the first round pick on him. He's not any good. Let's just stop playing him. So that would be an argument for Jaylen Warren, not even being a contingent value guy, but being both a standalone and a contingent value guy.
Yeah, no, I like Warren a lot. He's a guy I drafted a lot last year after depth charts were released. And he looked good. The 20 rounds for the big board versus the 18 rounds lets you do so much, though. Like, that's why, like, if it was 18 rounds, I'm never taking Murray. I'm never, I was willing to go Damian Harris here. That's just because of the flexibility these 20 rounds give you. And, like, I would go 3 tight end even with Andrews sometimes. I don't think our wideouts are strong enough to do that because, like, we have a lot of question marks. Even Debo's somewhat of a question mark, you could say. Not talent-wise, but just production. At running back, I want at least one more. We do have...
I think we probably want 2 more.
Yeah, at least one. We have 5 more rounds. So I could see us going 1 running back, 2 wideouts, 2 tight ends. That would be 5. I could see us going 2 running backs. I like the extra tight end bullets because it's like if Mark Andrews doesn't fall into the end zone and random darts do, that's important. I would take Trey McBride.
You and I are very aligned on let's take Trey McBride. We have our week 17 super sneaky stack that no one else has. We'll be the only team in the big board final with Kyler and McBride.
McBride against the Falcons was a big pick of mine to end Best Ball Mania 3, and literally him scoring 20 points against the Falcons with David Blau is a reason I won the DraftKings 555. Of course, I was the only one to have McBride.
I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. So McBride is a brand play as well. And it's like these running back names, I feel the same about literally every one of them, unless it's like someone I know, where it's like, what's your vibe on McKinnon? Is he going to like, I was not drafting him at all earlier. And lately I've taken him a little bit. Like,
I don't think he's going to resign.
You don't?
Because he didn't even, I mean, maybe he was just hurt, but he wasn't even playing at all in the Super Bowl.
But like you're the one who told me something must have happened with injury. Like you don't do what you did.
No, I agree. I mean, obviously I agree with myself, but my thought would probably be they take one guy on day 3, the way they've done the last couple of years. They also have a couple special teams guys like Jerry and Ely and I gotta look up this other guy's name. And also, it pains me to say this: they are a team that could sign Ezekiel Elliott to a veteran minimum contract. Probably makes a lot of sense for them. Yeah.
But
it's just like McKinnon's 31. I just don't know how much.
Why would you sign Zeke when you like McKinnon can pass block and catch passes? Or
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong.
unless McKinnon, like, I don't know, like clearly, how do we feel about John Mechie?
I like him okay. I think Jake Ferguson is going to be the Cowboys starting tight end this upcoming year. You know
Okay,
who?
if
You
you
know
feel
what
that
wide?
way, let's do it.
You know what wide receiver I really like late, like love late, is Tutu Atwell.
You should not get in the habit of saying your loves before we're picking.
I mean, he
But
goes like undrafted.
yeah, I don't think anyone's likely to steal him from us. Yeah, but like, okay, you're like in a healthy Stafford season. I guess Allen Robinson is going to be out of there, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to play it down. And Atwell was like they were scheming him stuff. You know, he was getting the jet sweeps and the schemes targets. Like he was a second round pick, not even that long ago. And the question was just always like, is this guy gonna die? Like if we put him in an NFL game, is he just like literally gonna die? He weighs like 160 pounds, and he played 8 weeks as basically a
Look. You
starter.
mentioned Tutu, and we got him, Davis. We talked about this pre-stream. We said we're going to tout Tutu Atwell in the 17th round. We got you, Crash Rich.
No,
Admit it.
I don't care. I'm happy. I'm happy that Crash Rich is
No,
vibing.
I'm kidding. We did not collude, pretend that we were going to tout a name. Bunch of these running backs I take. I think we need some wideouts here. We need some running backs. We're done at tight end. We're done at quarterback. So it's literally just Deontay Hardy. I used to be able to get in the 20th round. People are hungry now.
Yes, they are.
I think this is Crash Rich who wanted his one share for his 150th draft. He wanted his Tutu Atwell. It'd be amazing if Tutu Atwell won him the big board.
Tutu Atwell's. I mean, I think he's good, man.
If we don't take John Mechie, I'm about Rashee Rice or Cedric Tillman.
I like Tillman. I think he might be like a surprising goes earlier in the NFL draft than people think.
I feel the same way about Rice. I literally don't even know what he looks like. I just know that he is an athletic freak.
Those SMU guys are tough.
Not popping in your models.
Well, they run, they just do the full out air raid. So like guy catches like 150 passes a year, but how hard was his job?
This is Rashee Rice's Raz. Incomplete. Don't get the 3 cone. You don't love to see that. Let's get Tillman.
Yeah. Easy game.
Big guy though.
Yeah.
The only thing with Mechie is dude had cancer last year. We just don't know if he's playing. If we knew he was playing, I think it's a more comfortable click. But we don't know if half these dudes are playing in these rounds.
Right. That is generally the issue.
What's your vibe on CEH? He's not a name I've selected once.
I mean, it's like he's gonna make the team,
as the Rojo role, or
I mean, what can you do? Like he's gonna make the team. I don't know. He's gonna get the ball some.
If McKinnon signs with them, would you rather have McKinnon or CEH?
Yes, I would rather. If McKinnon signs with them, they might just cut Clyde.
I feel the same way. Should we go McKinnon here or CEH?
Sure. Let's go McKinnon.
The only thing about McKinnon is his age.
Correct.
It always, when I type in McKinnon age, it always comes with Kate McKinnon, the actress. He's 30, going to be 31 soon. The only thing about CEH is he's not good at football.
He's really not.
Pick your poison there.
And that's it's like sort of an issue. Like
You
being
would
really
hate to
bad.
be out at him, Davis, though, when he is a
I mean,
literal 19th round pick.
I'm gonna be taking him. I'm not
Yeah, but that's like a try to catch a falling sword, because like when you took him in your first, and then you took him in the second, and then you took him in the 10th, you gotta take a guy when he's in the 20th. Like I'm the same way. Like if I took a guy in the 6th round and now he's a 12th round pick, if there's anything I can convince myself on, I'm taking that guy now.
You can't lose if you just keep martingaling. If you just double down every time, it's actually impossible to lose.
Our last dart, I think we add at wideout. How do you feel?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Bijan, Cook, Penny, Dillon, Warren, McKinnon versus Brown, Samuel, Johnston, Thomas, Downs, Gallup, Tillman. I think we want the wide receiver.
Yeah.
And let's try to come up with a name not being drafted you think has upside.
Give me scroll. Just give me a scroll. Duvernay, sort of interesting to me.
He gets drafted somewhat, but with us having Lamar, I'm about it.
Nathan Dell. That's a pretty interesting one.
Who is this guy?
He's a rookie.
Nathaniel Dell. Duvernay to go with Lamar or Dell?
Let's do Dell. It's more fun.
Yeah, I just don't see the Ravens being to repair this in some ways.
Right. No, I don't think you're wrong.
Tell us about Nathaniel Dell. Let's pull up his Raz to see if there is one.
So he went to the University of Houston, and he was like, he's small, but he is just like an extremely good possession.
If I knew he was 5'8", 165, I would not have been a Nathaniel Dell guy. Random play right there.
I owned you.
I don't know. Like, okay, so this is your Tutu Atwell.
Well, except Tutu is real fast.
8.6 hand size. I don't think I've seen hands that small, by the way.
You're not into the small hands?
No, I think small hands correlate a little bit with dropping the ball.
I mean, it probably does.
We literally probably have the only share of Nathaniel Dell. And I like a guy rocking a Nathaniel rather than a Nathan. Bryce Ford Wheaton is the guy I draft a lot, but like people are drafting him now. Like I think I helped popularize that, and other people like him.
For sure, you invented Bryce Ford Wheaton.
Yeah, I'm literally his father. Just kidding. Let's pull up his Raz.
It's really good, right?
Raz is not everything. It's just to show you, the archetype of the player. This is what's impressive to me. Sub 7 3-cone at 221 pounds.
Isn't he like 80 years old?
Good question. I'm assuming that his quarterback was not good. Where's his age? Nothing comes up for age. We need like a Anthony Amico for him.
No, he's old. He's old. He's like 24. Bryce Ford Wheaton.
24 is not that old.
For a wide receiver prospect, it is.
Let's name this one. Davis and I win the big board.
Tank Dell.
And to finish up this team, we pulled a 3-6-8-3. Lamar Jackson, Derek Carr, Kyler Murray, all of them stacked up in some regard. Bijan Robinson, Dalvin Cook, Rashad Penny, A.J. Dillon, Jalen Warren, Jerick McKinnon, A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel, Quentin Johnston, Michael Thomas, Josh Downs, Michael Gallup, Cedric Tillman, Nathaniel Dell. A lot of rookies and just question marks in general in our wide receiver room, but upsides there. And then Mark Andrews, Trey McBride, and Jake Ferguson.
Perfect.
How do you feel about the team?
I mean, I like the uncertainty angle with Lamar, Mark Andrews. I don't think it's going to be that common, and I think that I like the Kyler Murray thing. I like really talked myself into that as we were going through it.
Hey, that's how we like to do things over here. Davis, tell the people what you got coming down the pipeline or any previous work you want them to check out that you did recently?
Yeah. I mean, everyone just check out the Sports Grid Fantasy Football podcast, the Take Cast, and we're just vibing through the off season.
For me, just hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I'm gonna be back maybe even later today, multi-tabling some drafts. Figured I'd stream at least one session of a multi-table for you guys. I got to get these bullets in, so I'm gonna try to get to at least 100 or something like that. Have a great day, guys. I'll be back with gonna rip a draft with Pat Corain later this week and maybe some other guests. Peace out. Have a great day.